Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. Gee whiz, about 11 o'clock here on the West Coast. Kevin's away Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week, and did about an hour and a half, an hour and 40-minute daily brief with the gang here today on the site. Let's see if YouTube's working, and it is awesome. So a little bit later in our offering here, but what the heck, it's free, right? So what do you guys got to complain about? Anyway, good morning, all. As I said, we had a really great session doing a bunch of macro analysis, looking at things like, let's see where I can just give you a sneak peek. We were looking at things like what does the Dow Jones Industrial Average look like in real terms if you use things like M2 money supply analysis? What does it look like in diluted basis? And the Fakazi of rise-only market here in the stock market, even though it's clearly being diluted immensely. Also, too, I thought we had a really good conversation about how the fact that this pullback here that we saw recently was nothing more than just a check of the original W double bottom breakout here. And gee whiz, it just so happened to be exactly 50% of our range. And hopefully also, too, you see here we had lots of conversation about what should we be expecting going forward. And, you know, the irony of it all is I do these charts on things like Bitcoin and, various different assets. Nothing's really different here. I do still, for the time being, think that this is very much a diamond chart pattern. And that basically implies that this is our entire trading range going forward. It's totally realistic. And ironically enough, if we think about COVID and the massive uncertainty, also our crazy celestial events and lots of, that's like, 6 celestial events all happening in the year 2000, something that you don't see in like, millions of years. Is it going to be a very wild, choppy environment through the rest of 2020? I believe so. And what I find so fascinating about this is, ironically enough, if we just go back and say, what did the stock market do the last time we went through one of these nutso insano virus situations? It was just about 100 years ago. And, interestingly enough, I showed you that diamond pattern. Really, that's basically the diamond pattern playing itself out. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen here. So unfortunately, people are looking for like strong trend, strong direction, and that is not the current market state. Pick your battles. I think there's some great opportunities. Try to identify value. Try to find good technical setups off of value levels and just go and have some fun. So for your conversation here, sort of day to day, don't see a heck of a lot of change to the big picture. But we're just slowly marching on. As we're sort of working through this, and my apologies for all you free YouTubers. Yesterday was a holiday in the States, so market was pretty quiet with all of the sort of big banks and stuff closed. So didn't really think there was a necessity to put out one of these daily videos. Although I did bang off a really nice double yesterday. But anyway, that was in the Canadian market. Anyway, looking at our hegemony proxy, the U.S. dollar index. Always a good way to... Excuse me. I always seem to get these hiccups just about halfway through these videos, eh? You can almost set your watch to it. But what's the U.S. dollar index doing here today? COVID. I think the story hasn't changed. I know you want me to say, oh no, it's a new bull, it's a new bear. Seems to me we are basically going sideways, deciding what's the next shoe to drop? If we do lose the bottom of this channel, my hunch is probably come back down against these lows. That would imply that hunky-dory, world's a great place, all the other currencies are reflating, risk is back on. And conversely, if we A, B, C, D our way out through the top here, my hunch is probably a nice little test of these old highs. But really, if we go into crisis again, that could be trouble, right? Because the Fed's already shot its wad once. How many wads do they have to shoot? My hunch is like the central planners and all that kind of stuff, they would really like to see this US dollar breakdown. It's interesting how there's huge wranglings going on out of Europe right now about ECB and Germany, and Germany's thinking about balking on participating in the just ridiculous dilution of the money system over there in Europe. And frankly speaking, I can understand why the Germans are like, why do we as Germans have to keep paying the price for the Southern Europeans and their horrible economic policies? That's a tough one. Certainly I don't know what the answer is. I will say, though, if I understand correctly, the ECB's like going to take Germany to court. This should be interesting. And the soap opera goes on. I was actually thinking that the euro could be in big trouble here, but it seems almost like that's come out now. Maybe that's what the market was worried about, and you heard me a while ago going, "Oh Jesus, that euro looks terrible." And now with them actually taking Germany to court, I don't know whether that's actually been filed yet or not. Maybe that's put the German bankers back in the box right now. I don't know. Anyway, I think jury's still out. There's no real trade for me here. If we look at risk on, risk off in particular, and I like to sort of look at an image like, where are we here? It's one of these that I have over here. There we are. Interesting to see the air is really coming out of the gold market. Silver's still sort of hanging in there. So it'll be an interesting battle between the gold and the silver. Notice, remember we said move stop to trailing on the silver. That level's still working. You just got to sit there and do nothing. But interesting how we painted this nice swoon against this trend line. That's exactly what's going on here. I don't think gold is really broken down because the key lows where the big boys are going to be buying. Remember, there was that huge reversal candle way down there. So their low seems to be about 1685 or so, somewhere in that neighborhood. And you might even A, B, C, D your way down here into that level, and then we see the turn. If we break in earnest below this 1666, interesting. Who's running the bus here, eh? Then unfortunately, I think that's a big sell signal for the gold. What I thought was really interesting is a few days ago, somebody put out a tweet on this event that they rallied up and filled in the gap here. So they put in a tweet saying, that's a pretty good selling level. I'm short. And then what I found fascinating, and keep in mind, the public, they're almost always wrong. And a whole bunch of replies were like, "Oh, this tweet's gonna, age horribly, and the worst market call ever, and of course you're a big fat loser because of course I'm long gold and gold's going to the moon, so blah blah blah." I do find it fascinating. It'd be interesting to follow up on that gentleman and see if he's still short and whether social media and the herd. And I do see this a lot. It happened to one of our site members. Last week, he got sucked into the herd bullshit, and he closed out a perfectly good short level that he had on Bitcoin. He would have been up huge now, but the herd got him. Remember, the herd never works in your favor. The herd is your enemy. So I thought this was a really good example of that. Trade your setups. Opinions are meaningless. Just, follow your plan. Let go. As soon as, obviously a lot of people in the public, it's very hard for them to let go because they have no confidence in what the hell they're letting go of. I can completely understand that. 100 paper trades, right? All the shit that we have to teach our level 1ers. And just trade your setups, right? I mean, it's such a hard place to get to. I don't know whether you can or not. But I tell you, once you do get there, man, it's so liberating. Anyway, gold, not much going on there. Silver hanging in, hasn't broken down yet. Still, this long works, but, if we lose, what's this level? Let me guess, 16,666 or something like that, right? 1719. Well, that's not really that evil of a number. Anyway, on this particular contract here, this is the spot market for silver. You lose that 1719 area here, and if I was long this, I'd be like, you know what, there's no sense in taking the risk. So there's your gold silver update. But, with regard to risk on, risk off, I'm getting the feeling that risk on is carrying the day here. And it's interesting that we talked to you guys. I had a long conversation with the site members in the daily brief today about the Russell 2000 and this study of small caps versus large caps. As long as this thing keeps painting higher highs, which it just did, I think this is a risk-on environment. And not only is this risk-on, but the speculators are running into the junior part of the market, which I think they actually see some value in. So, here's one that I'll squawk about in a bit. I mean, look at that. That's a pretty nice move on the day. I had another one that just went apeshit yesterday. It was on the Canadian market. It was so funny as all the U.S. guys with the U.S. market closed, they're looking at me in Canada going, "Oh, you jerk. You better not fucking put a top in the market, you bastard." The U.S. market opened up, popped higher. They all got their fills too, so they were happy. It's just a great analogy of capitalism. Anyway, point of the matter here is that's a very risk-on-y type image to me, not a risk-off-y type image. And of course, higher highs and higher lows defines a bull. I mean, this damn S&P 500, it just keeps charging higher. Remember we painted this original inverted head and shoulders, which gave a target up here at 3,100. I do find it a little sad, a little bit disappointing that I did hear people that were taking short shots against the highs here, which is totally fine. I mean, if your setup says take a short shot, okay, fine. But, when the market tells you that you're wrong, you're probably best to get out. And this could turn into, for those people that just don't have the professionalism to hop off, this could turn into an absolute slow grind of death here as we work our way higher. So, if you did take short shots, and there were perfectly good reasons to think so, there's a nice little M, M's and W's. You've heard Brian say that before. But remember, guys, nothing in the markets is ever guaranteed. Nothing is ever, if I trade this system, guaranteed to make money, don't even need to think about it. Come on. You all know that that's not the case. It's interesting to see how the oil market is not breaking out here, even though the gold's a bit soft. So for risk on to officially come off, I'd really like to see this oil market break. If this son of a bitch goes and breaks out through all this massive resistance here, geez, we could be ready for another leg higher. I mean, and again, this is a great example. Don't get into the business of being the crystal ball guy and saying this will happen. You never know what the hell's going to happen in this crazy world. I would have thought that we're going to run into serious resistance in here, but let's see what happens. The market goes, I couldn't care what you think, Brian. Who knows? Anyway, trade your setups. And as I said, I don't see risk off here. I see sort of crude oil is kind of like just taking a bit of a pause. Stocks actually look a bit pausey here, but that Russell 2000, Jesus, it looks like it's on fire right now. Risk off, right? The bonds, the gold, right? The yen. They don't really look like they're catching a bid here. Again, just like the US dollar index, I think the bond market's parked sideways. And now, in a weird sort of way, the attention is off of the US bond market, and now it's on the German bond market and on the ECB and all that. So you might find that this goes even quieter here. And then, in very similar fashion to the bonds, you can kind of see how the gold is just quieted down here. We're kind of like rah-rah bullish bots. Let's go, let's go. If you had taken that, then really right now, you're not doing anything. You got to break these lows down here for you to go, oh, I was wrong, get me out. And I suppose same sort of thing if you had like bought these kind of W's on the bonds. I mean, I remember my preferred trade here was that strangle trade, buy a call, buy a put, and if and when we break out, there's going to be some violence here. But I don't have like I had showed you recently. If I was playing the metals market, the trade, in my opinion, was in silver. It wasn't in gold. But anyway, it is what it is. Risk off right now is not catching a bid. And that's the way the market is today. As I said, risk on, feeling pretty sexy here. This is a fun little one. Actually, this one should appeal to a lot of people who watch this video. These guys are in the Bitcoin business. Bitcoin blockchain. Woohoo, buddy! If anything, this, in my opinion, is really more a testament of venture capital than anything else. What's so cool about this story is that this is, I mean, look at this crazy chart action. What the fuck is that, Brad? But this is a classic VCIM trade. This was taught to me by an old VSE floor broker back when there was a VSE. And actually, it's kind of weird. Like, sometimes you see these charts and sometimes you don't. I never even figure out what the hell. I never figure this out. I always get it wrong. The thing is, I don't even have Kevin here to help me. I don't know how long I've been talking here today either. You guys might get a marathon session here today. I know. Well, you should be able to do like events, but I can never remember how this goes. But anyway, I was showing this chart to site members. This is a classic, like I said, VCIM venture cap investment model. In that they rolled the stock back, and that's what I was trying to show you, the S on here, like 20 for 1, just absolute destruction to the old shareholders. Options to directors, so the directors are all loaded up down here. Shares for debt, so basically they cleaned up the balance sheet, no more debt, and then it's just really a question of what the hell are they going to do. And I was long from about 20 cents. I think I picked it up like last year. So, and this is an excellent testament. I'm never in any hurry, especially with these VCIM names. Just in comparison, I'll give you an example of what these VCIM stocks can do. There was one 2 years ago. The model told us to get all excited and how ironic, the story's over, wash it out. The model told us to get excited here down at, isn't that interesting? They must have diluted the shit out of this stock. But to get all excited down here, they rolled the stock back. It's too bad. Where the hell's that damn S thing? Anyway, and you can see how similar this chart action looks to that one I'm just showing you right now. So they rolled the stock back, shares for debt, options to directors, and it was so funny. We had one student in the level one. Actually, he worked his way through the whole education program, and I think it was by the time he was in level 3. And it's a great story. I love telling the story. He was kind of like, yeah, Brian, I'll buy your bullshit. I paid you the course. Maybe you know what you're talking about. I don't know. Oh, you got a 10-cent stock? All right, fine. I'll go throw $1,000 at it. Let's see what happens. And he's working at a shitty job that he hates and all that kind of stuff. And he didn't even turn on his stock account for a while. And he comes back home from work one day and he's got this funny email. And he looks at his account balance and he's like, well, I only put $5,000 into the account and it says the account balance is like $16,000. What the hell's going on here? And lo and behold, it turns out what the hell? Oh, actually, I'm showing you the, isn't that interesting? Did they change business? I don't know whether I'm even showing you the right thing. Millennium Lithium, that's what I'm supposed to be showing you. There it is. Right? I know, ironic. They've worked their way right back down. Same sort of thing. So, rolled the stock back, options for directors, shares for debt. He bought a whack of stock at 10 cents. He comes home from work and he absolutely hates his job. The reason why I'm taking this course, Brian, is free me, free me. Opens up his email and this is what he sees. And he's like, woohoo! So, we were buying down here. So these, that was about 2016. That was a few years ago. Anyway, and I've told you lots of stories about this guy. he did very, very well through that $20,000 run on Bitcoin. Anyway, and then we had one last year. AMI, I think it is. Very typical. I mean, ironically enough, it's so cliche. So this one, shares for dead, options to directors, run it up, and woohoo! Look at that move. You could have, I mean, geez, you got almost a 10x on that damn thing. And how ironic, typical capitalist fashion, they bring it right back down to the bottom. So typical. So where am I going with all this? Well, this BITK it's starting its run. I love this VCIM model. It's so much fun. And actually, it's great that I can actually show you these, because these are actually trades that students have taken with me, and we've made great money. So same sort of thing. Rolled the stock back, options director, shares for debt. There's Brian coming in on the buy side, and gee whiz, whoop! I just got filled. Ding, 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 ding. So I had an order to sell half on a double at 45. It ran up to 50 there earlier, and I was wondering if I was going to get filled. I was the offer at 45, so there you go. Merry Christmas. So now I'm sitting on free shares. That's not such a bad life, eh? The one I wanted to show you, which was yesterday, was Village Farms. And you know, the cool part about this is I asked all you guys on YouTube and in social media. I said, I don't know what's going to happen here. You know, we have one site member, Big Rooster. He's got just a ton of awesome stock picks. The guy's just killing it. And we have a TRI SOF meeting tonight, so I can't wait to see what's on his shopping list tonight. But anyway, I told you about this trade. You can't say didn't tell you about it. And bang, we got off a nice fill yesterday. And how ironic, right? This is such a great example of why you got to work your orders at your levels, because you can see, I mean, we might just back right away from that level now. And, oh, by the way, yeah, there were a bunch of TRIers that were on the sell side at double our levels. So, gee whiz, why did the stock stop there? Well, probably TRI stopped it in its tracks. But anyway, who cares? We're all on free positions now. Basically, I'm going to ride this stock here. Let's have fun with this. Let's see if I can still be a shareholder into that 2035 stock market peak. And I wouldn't be surprised a stock like this actually is maybe $100, $200 a share on a split adjusted basis, and or they've been bought out by some major conglomerate at much, much higher prices. But I got free stock. Do I care? Let's see where the hell the wind blows. Maybe if we're lucky, they might even start spitting out dividends. Wouldn't that be cool? So that's what I've been doing over the past couple of days. You can see the market's treated me rather nicely. And it's just rinse and repeat, guys. It's just the same thing day in, day out. Just rinse and repeat. All right, heading on over to the corn. As you can see, pretty busy charts. I haven't really updated a heck of a lot here. I haven't seen too much to get excited about in crypto in particular. Did see a bunch of people banging out doubles on things like RVN that they picked up off the bottom, so congratulations. In the daily brief, we looked at, I think it was EOS or something like that. Yeah, here. It's interesting. I don't like the fact that a lot of these alts are going to new lows. I mean, maybe you have things like inverted head and shoulders that are going to take price up into these levels. You can see how we sort of mapped out the intraday trade. But position traders, I'm just not jazzed by stories like this, especially if they're making new lows, breaking through old contract lows. That's not a good sign. So it was very hard for me to endorse this idea today. And actually, I kind of think that this thing needs to come down into these levels. But we'll see how it goes. So not a hell of a lot to get too excited about in altcoin land. Some ones that I've liked recently, I told you about that double bottom on Sys. He's working his way up. Doge, I don't know whether they're doing a Dogecoin this summer, but anytime Doge is below 30 sats, I think that's pretty much an easy no-brainer. Look at this Stratus. You can see the double bottom coming in here, so that looks good. I was a bit surprised. Ooh, look at that. Geo's starting to take off. Actually, that's good because Geo's a darling. If you're going to do, actually, that's probably not a bad theme for today. For those people that are relatively new to crypto, Geo, as far as I'm concerned, is one of these kind of stories that flies under the radar screen. I think they're on the Ubic blockchain now. But anytime you ask any OGer about geo, they always go, "Oh, I love that story. Oh, I love that." And it's all about geo hashing, which of course is, that's exactly what the market wants now with all this tracking COVID and stuff like this. So, just do yourself a favor, just go grab some geo. I mean, regardless. But ironically enough, actually, you can see some pretty damn good looking market structure coming in here down at the bottom end of the range. You know me. Don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. I don't know whether it's a good idea to be chasing up top here. You could work reload zone bids, yada, yada, yada. You know the story. Don't chase. Hunt W's, blah, blah, blah. But, this is a great analogy of sort of the stealth altcoin bull market that I think is actually happening now. The public is still enamored with things like, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever. What is it? What's the one Chico Crypto loves these days? There's a couple of them. He's, big on, what the hell is it? Tezos or Link, right? Big on Link, big on XTC. So that's where the public's attention is. I do like the idea of, taking positions in a lot of these sort of anti-YouTube kind of proxies. They look interesting. I love Mana, going and buying real estate in these digital worlds. Maybe, that'll be, wouldn't it? This would be a perfect opportunity for Mana to really bring a lot of people into their world where, their advertisement would be like, hey, you can come closer than 2 feet or 2 meters, right? in Decentraland, who knows? But I like that sort of narrative. And, interestingly enough with the corn, again, there's not a hell of a lot for me new to say here. You guys all know what I'm sort of thinking here. I could very easily see the corn just sort of settle into a range here and just kind of go quiet. I've said this repeatedly, dips down on these kind of dumps. If we can get this nice polite harmonic play out, I think this becomes fantastic buying windows. If you can get Bitcoin below cost of production, some sort of insane dump like this kind of crap, super, super buy windows. But, right across the board. I mean, I like the idea of thinking about the next 5 to 10 years. Can I accumulate stories, bang out doubles, get free positions over the next year or two while the broader market is directionless and totally freaked out? Can I just build good core positions for free to set myself up for the next bull? And that's the way I'm looking at crypto right now. Okay, I think I'll leave the free offering at that. Hope you guys got some value out of that. All the best and bye for now.